This is a preview file. 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 This is a preview file.
How's it going? Yeah, good.
I think everyone's kind of a bit over royalty-free music with uplifting and inspirational. We're IT people, we deal in facts. How you doing, man? What's been happening?
Nothing much. Back at TAFE, which is a relief, I tell you. Honestly, 4 weeks off is too much.
And you got your interview tomorrow, don't you?
Yeah.
So you're really pumped about that, I'm guessing.
I'm apprehensive about it, but also looking forward to it.
Yeah. So do you think they're gonna what do you think they're gonna ask you when you go into that interview?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I assume it'll be a lot of role-based questions. Probably a fair few questions about past employment, similar things like that.
I think like I'm just going back from my experience. A lot of people always think it's always about the technical when you first go in. It really depends on the employer. So I found that like employers generally will either want to go, hire a person who has the willingness to learn, so that professional learner kind of mentality, or basically they're going down the approach of they will ask you a whole bunch of technical questions to kind of gauge, where, like, have you made an effort to actually learn something? So I don't expect anything to be like, out of this world, or how do you configure a cluster service, or how do you
I don't expect anything too insane.
you would literally get probably questions about phone etiquette, so things like if you've got a difficult customer on the phone, how do you deal with that?
Nick off.
Things like that. Other questions like, okay, if you've got a person like, I'm just kind of going back on questions that I've actually asked people. Questions like, have you, if you've got a person who's doesn't fully understand or is hard of hearing, how do you interact with that person over a phone? Things like that. So it's basically just really kind of like phone etiquette and things like that. Because most of the time, like when you're obviously getting your first foot in the door, it's like an apprenticeship. You just kind of smash it out. And at the end of the day, though, like obviously having that under your belt's actually massive as well, because you obviously get that industry exposure, and they're going to throw training at you, and you just take every bit of training. So, g'day Anthony, how you going, mate? I hope you're doing well. Your audio sounds
that'll be
doubled up.
because we're each
close.
running a microphone. So
Yeah, okay. I will. Hey Christian, can you talk for a sec?
yeah, sure. There you go.
All right. What about me? Okay. Yeah, you're picking up on my mic.
Hang on.
See if we can turn that sensitivity down. Yeah, I think.
That better?
Keep going.
What? Tilt it further out. Oh, there we go.
Okay, we'll just we'll see how we go there. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm just going to turn me down a bit as well, because I'm gaining out. Anyway, I can't hear him now. Oh, really? Keep talking.
Okay. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is that all right, Anthony? Yeah, well, we got it pretty far away.
That good or? Okay.
Yeah, a bit better. Okay, what about now? What about now? I've just tilted it up. It's showing it a bit quieter when I tilt it up. Too low. Okay. All right. We're just gonna.
I'm just gonna put my mic back where it was, and
we'll just see how we go. Yeah. So actually, that'd be a really good thing with OBS would be to have a because obviously you got multiple streams coming in. Should be able to noise cancel that out.
You'd think, but
yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so PowerShell 101. So today's going to be a bit different. So last couple of weeks I've been working really heavily in Pesta. So basically I have completed all the tests. So basically from the server side, yeah, everything's passed. So that's actually really good news. So from all the bits and pieces, it means that I've finished the C# service. So I just need to test it. So what we're going to be doing today is a bit of recap. So I've wrote a bunch of Pesta tests surrounding just a bit like a PowerShell exam. We're all going to work. You guys can work through it together. It's not going to be obviously. It's based off a PowerShell module called PS Crohn's. And basically, it's just really to get a better understanding of testing, but at the same time, it's really like they're kind of teaching you a little bit about PowerShell. In this instance, I'm just using it as a test framework because it's brilliant for that. So actually recently for myself, I've been doing a lot of work with Pesta. So obviously here, I've been doing tons of Pesta. I've been doing a lot of Pesta at work as well. So recently at work, I've got my continuous integration delivery pipeline set up for my module, my Desire to Learn PowerShell module.
Just so you know, Anthony, D2L is what runs Connect.
Yeah. So I've got a so Insync's got a PowerShell module that I wrote that basically it allows you to basically interact with it within PowerShell. So that's pretty cool. You can do a lot of cool things with it. But basically, what I've got now is in our code. So when I've got a restriction on the master branch, so you can't do any sort of commits into the master branch, and the only way you can go to do anything in the master branch is to pull code in. And so to pull code in, it goes through a gated we call it a gated build, or a gated. So what it does is it basically runs a build. And this is the build pipeline's basically a series of tests. You can, like, I've got a in Visual Studio Azure DevOps. You have what we call a build pipeline, and a build pipeline you can just basically run whatever you want, really. And so in this instance, I've got a PowerShell, a whole bunch of tests running. So it basically tests the build, make sure the build's up to scratch, the modules all in place. So basically things that are commonly really important for before you want to push in. So it's just kind of makes the deployment process more robust. So you're reducing as many errors as you possibly can before obviously getting to the release pipeline. And then when we have the release pipeline basically takes the module, packages it up, sticks it in an Azure Blob storage, and then basically updates the manifest file, and I don't have to do anything, and it's all done. And it goes through an approval process as well, so we actually have to physically, myself or my colleague physically have to click OK on to OK the build, although it won't pass. So things like that, but it's really cool. So, and then the other thing we'll be doing is training in unit-based unit-based testing. So that's obviously kind of stemmed the whole thing. I've been using the module and all that as a bit of a work in progress, because at the end of the day, though, it's been something I've been wanting to do, and obviously having the training to do it, you just lab it. Anyway, so let's get started into this. Anthony, you can follow along. I don't expect you guys to know all of this, but we did cover it. So
you're hoping.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping. So at the end of the day, though, we're just going to see how we go. So I'm going to firstly just bring this up, focus it on the screen so everyone can see it. So what we're going to do is, I've basically wrote this in a PESA test. So we're not writing extensive amount of PowerShell, we're just basically writing some easy bits and pieces. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly go through, make sure everything is hunky-dory. Yep, sweet. Okay, so what I'm going to do firstly is I'm going to create just clear this up. I'm going to go to VS Live and I'm going to start a collaboration session. Okay, so I'm just going to jump over to Discord and I'll just chat this on to you. Oh, by the way, Stellaris has actually got an Expanse mod. Yeah, I don't want to like, because it's got spoilers in it. So I'm like,
look,
I don't really want to.
If I read far enough ahead in the books, it won't matter, right?
Well, that's exactly right. But at the same time, I'm like, I just don't really want to like do it. Like,
oh come on, it signed me out.
Like, I just want to like, yeah, I just want to like, because it's Expanse is like, it's just a really good, like, it's a really good TV show. Like, I really enjoy it. It's like one of the few TV shows that I really enjoy. Like, towards the end of things, I just get really tired of it, and I'm like, I don't really want to watch this anymore. And it's for the Expanse, like, yeah. So I'm actually really pumped for that. Once we get Christian online, and then we'll get this process starting. Is that a flash thing? I thought that was a flash icon, and I was like, what?
Are you knocking Flash?
Oh man, I'm knocking Flash hard. That was like early 2000s. All viruses were injected using Macromedia Flash. It was just the worst.
That was back when they
script.
had the Shockwave player, right?
Yeah, Shockwave player. I actually used to use Flash extensively for interaction. So I'm just gonna make this read right. Alright, you can jump in when you're ready, and we will get this party started. So, I've got some supporting functions I've just chucked in up the top here. This just helps me, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So, to give you a bit of fundamentals for you guys, so we're just going to run F5 here. That really shouldn't have passed, but we're just going to, I'll mark that one manually. So, we have a whole bunch of tests here. That basically, that we're going to be going through. And each of these will, once we've passed it, it'll actually come up like this. It'll come up orange, so we know we've passed it. So we're just going to, you guys are just going to slowly work through them, and then from that, You can run it as many times as you want. Like, it's not obviously going to break anything unless you break the test, but that's all right. I'm here to fix it. And you guys can, go from there. It's fun recap. Where is it?
I don't have it.
It's DTemp fun recap. Of course it is. Okay, give me 2 secs. I'm just gonna save it in there because I'm doing a big no-no, but I'm just gonna save it in there. What am I in tests? There it is. Just saved it in the worst spot. All right, sweet. Okay, we're in fun recap. So I'm just going to minimize convert to base 64 because these are basically just irrelevant. Alrighty, so let's get stuck into it. So very first test we've got here is we're testing object types. So so our very first one is what type is this? What type is value? And then basically in the response, you'll type your response. So what type do you think this is? It's actually easier if I actually run it. Let me just run it. It makes it a bit easier. So if we look at it, I'm also just going to clear it so I can actually not. Never mind. So we've got, what type is that? So what is that type?
That looks like a string.
Okay, I'll get you to write your response there in the response. Okay, so how are you going to check it? What are you going to do? Save the file and run it. So you can save the file there. So you can go Control S, yep, and then run it. Just hit F, run it F5. The host doesn't allow. Okay. So what you can do is just shut that. Close the debugger. So just go to Files there. Yep. Just you click on that tab. Oh no, sorry, not that one. Just the left. Yep. And then just hit F5 again. Just hit F5 now.
Brings up the debugger.
Oh really?
Yep.
Should allow debugger.
I'll just go.
I'll just allow it.
Start without debugging.
There we go. Did it run? Okay, it's not running. That's alright, we'll just run it on my side. So that's weird. Anyway, so what we can do here is we just run it. It's running in a fun debugger. I don't want to run in a debugger, but anyway. So we can see here, testing testing object types. What type is value? Now it's orange.
Yep.
So that test is now passed. So yes, you're correct. It's a string. So you've passed that one. That's the first one. Let's keep going. And when it says do not scroll, it just means that don't go looking up and down, because obviously the biggest thing with exam questions is that when they ask you the first question, what is this? Then they expand on that, and then basically when you're doing a technical test, I usually go read the next question because it'll give me the answer to the previous question.
Yeah.
And it's the same here. So, all right. So the next one, you can drive.
Right. Okay. Next one. Just not scrolling too far.
Hang on one sec. I'm just gonna follow you. Yep. Oh, whoops.
There.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go with integer.
Anthony, what do you think?
That's a good question.
Anthony, what do you reckon? This one can be yours.
So, by that is it a string? Is it a variable?
What type? So when we're talking about types, we're talking about, so you have different types of objects within any sort of .NET oriented language. So traditionally you have strings, integers, doubles, you have a whole bunch of different things. So a string is just a collection of characters. It introduces, numbers. You have Boolean, which is true or false. So that's a 1 or a 0, things like that. So what do you think? What do you think line 235 is? What type? You see how to prevent the actual answer, I just encoded it as base 64.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I was like, what's the easiest way to prevent them? Because I'm doing it.
Except the easy way for me to check.
That's actually true. So, in this instance, I'll get you to write the response. Yep, and then I'll run it.
Okay, save that.
Just clear this, which is not going to clear at all because it just doesn't. All right, we passed. Nice. Next one.
Okay.
That's all right. You're going to eventually learn. If you're going to learn PowerShell, it's basically something that you're going to learn type quite explicitly.
But you're going to have to learn to spell like an American.
Yeah, that's another one. So what commandlet do you use to get the object type? I'm not talking method, I'm talking commandlet.
Commandlet.
Yep.
Oh. Get object type.
Yes, get. It starts with get, and you got that right.
Again, this is the verb noun that I was talking to you about earlier,
Yep.
Anthony. So,
Okay. Let's run it. That work? No.
Oh, ooh.
I should really like this. I like they put the convert to base 64 and you can actually, because hypothetically, all you got to do is take out the function and then the person doesn't actually have the capacity, or you can actually just block that specific commandlet so they can't run it, so they can't just decode it.
Yeah.
Or they can just jump in an online thing. But anyway. What do you think it is, Anthony? I use this. Remember, I use this all the time. I know you've seen it.
I've seen you use it before. I'm trying to remember it, and it's
just not. Well, this is the thing. This is one of the biggest ones that you're going to need to remember. That's all right, Anthony. Yep, you can pull your book out. That's fine.
Let me check my notes that I probably don't have it mentioned in. What's that? That one.
Okay, just give it a go.
Shall I save first?
I've already saved it.
Cool.
Yep, that's a pass. Nice. All right. Next one.
I assume you mean hash tables, not hash tables up there. Line 274.
Yeah. It's definitely not that.
No, it's meant to say blah.
Okay. Save it or run it. Scroll down, we'll see our results.
Not quite.
The term blah was not recognized as the name of commandlet or function script file or a prop app. Now, before you fix it, Anthony, what's wrong with that?
I know what I did. This comes back to the types of what it is. So, without including a particular mark, I've said it is a commandlet or a function. So I need to turn it into information, more an object. Would that be the correct term, object?
Just a type, but yeah, pretty close. So what do you think it's going to be? You can go ahead and fix it. It's going to be a string, exactly right. So this is basically a string. So he's declared his variables, and then we've got a string. So let's go ahead and run it. And scroll down, and we've got a pass. All right, keep going.
Okay. Oh.
It's getting hard now, isn't it?
Yes, it's getting hard.
What do you think it's going to be? It's a tough one.
I've seen this before though. This was in Wayne's code. He was using it to try and splat an item in.
So I'm like, it's something that we've done that.
I'm probably going to get this wrong.
Like, don't be afraid to Google it. Don't be afraid to
What
go
reference
back and look through your
everyone's
code.
code?
Yeah, go through and look at people's code. This is like, it's really important. The answer is in there.
Yeah, I know.
The answer is in there.
Do you want to pull that up for everyone else?
Yeah, I'll pop it up so everyone else can kind of see what you guys are. So Wayne's actually scripting help. So Wayne popped his code up. So basically, of a specific class that basically turns a hash table into, sorry, it creates it's an object that, converts the object to a hash table. So, you think you got it?
I can see part of it. Hang on.
So, what do you think, Anthony? Like, think logically about it. So, we declared the hash table, which is here. And we basically got first name Michael, and then we're just wanting to add the last name to our hash table. If you think about it, it is around here. To be honest, I don't actually expect you to know it, Anthony. He's kind of, this is something that really is a little like a gotcha. for hash tables. But Christian should know it because we've been working with hash tables for so long now. What's that error saying? If you always see an error, have a look
Look
at
it up.
Yeah, look it up. What's it?
And it's
You
the
can highlight
line
it.
318. Unexpected.
It's missing.
Yeah. Okay, so I've put in parentheses, but it's saying it's not expecting parentheses. So it should be.
Sorry. Alright, so I'm just going to interject here for a bit.
Yep.
So the method, basically, you are on the right path. The method only accepts strings, so that's the first thing. I was reading that lol, I think it was the line to...
Okay, so only accept strings.
You're very close, Anthony. You're very close. So it only accepts strings, but you do have the right method, but you're not running the method correctly.
Which means I'm missing a step.
So tell me, talk me through what you're thinking right now.
I'm thinking, what bloody step have I missed? Okay, so with this up here, so you've got this is your object. So you get the member type, property,
Yep.
and name. You pipe the property name, essentially.
Yeah. You're piping the value.
Yeah, they're
Yep.
piping the property through.
Yep.
Where object this is property name, and then for each object in the property, and so for each property in the hash table, add key value. I know I changed at the end there terminology. At least that's the way I read that, which is probably wrong.
Okay, so yeah, you're pretty much 90% there. So basically, where objects, you're doing a filter, and then yeah, obviously going to for each object. I'm also thinking where object is filtering out. Where object is this? Is that? Where's this? What's this? Okay, yep. Okay, yep. Last name is equal to that. Okay. Close. Very close. Last name, it doesn't exist as a property, so we just can't define it. We actually have to add it. So it's not even a property, it's technically a key, but we have to add that key before we can set the value. So you obviously got for each object, so what we're doing now is we're going this.hashtable.add. So this.hashtable is referring to the parent object, which is test3 class.
Yeah.
And .hashtable is the hashtable object.
Okay, so because it's already an object, the object is already a hash table. I don't need to declare hash table in there, do I?
No, hash table only refers to the property in class 3. And last name, read host, enter last name. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. That's not going to work, mate. So what do you think you need to do there? Nice try, though, mate. Nice try.
I was thinking. Well, you said that yeah, test3 is the class, and then it's calling a hash table inside of that. So the object this is referring to test3, and then saying to the hash table inside of it, which means that if var's already a hash table, I don't need the hash table entry.
No, the hash table object only pertains to that class. So if I create an object and I call the property is called hash table, then that's the only reason why I would specify it. In this instance, it's just not that, like, they're apples and oranges. They don't exist. It just won't exist. So you've got var.add, and then what else do you need to do? Because you still got another error there.
Yeah, it's the unexpected token last name and expression or statement. So I need to declare that as that. But that...
Okay, I'm going to help you guys out, because this
That won't
actually
work.
this will help you out, alright? So I'm just going to F8 this. So you're basically 90% there, right? Yeah. That is really terrible. That is a terrible class. That is a terrible class. Alright. So, basically when we go to add, we've got, you guys are, you 90% there, like actually 99% there. It accepts, so when you're adding something, so traditionally here, when we define the value, we're basically defining the first name, and then we're defining
Yeah,
the
so you're going key value.
value.
So the key is first name, the value is Michael.
Yep. Now, with the add, because it's a method, we can't use that. It's just not possible.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so what do you think you're going to put in there to make it...
Well, first I'm going to spell name correctly.
Yep. Because that'll fail a test. Because it is looking for last name.
But that means I'm going to have to declare that it is a key value setup.
Nope. Okay, so add property only accepts strings. What are you going to put in there?
Oh, well,
Yep. That's it. So
that's it.
That's it. So when we're adding to adding a value to our hash table, we can just go var.add, and then it's just string. It just accepts strings. It's straight in there. So we rerun it. So now run. We passed it. How do we add a last name? Right, this one is for you, Anthony. I'm going to scroll down. How to remove last name from a hash table.
I feel like an idiot now.
So I'll get you started.
Well, think about the method we use to add one. We use var.add. So, like when we're removing, or adding and removing roles from server, you've got add Windows feature, remove Windows feature. So in this case, you'd be calling the variable var dot, and you're using a method. You've got add, which we've already used. So the other one would be, well, remove.
That's exactly right. So what do you think you're going to put in remove? What do you reckon you're going to put in remove?
I was just waiting to see what Anthony comes back with.
Just so you know, what I've got here is going to help you guys out. So this is add. Add. You've got two types of adds. You've got a dictionary add, and you've got a traditional add. This one is just a key and value. System.object accepts strings. We've got another one here. We've got void remove, system.object key, or by dictionary remove system.object key. So what do you reckon you're going to put in there? Oh man, I'm back. Okay. This is actually going really well. I didn't think I was going to be like, yeah, we can burn this out in a couple of minutes, and then like, it's 4:19.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not up to snuff.
No, that's good. Like, I was like, I was contemplating trying to work out where if we're going to need to write some more, and then I was like, oh, yeah, we'll see how we go.
What do you reckon I should put in there, Anthony?
So, yeah.
Again, it only accepts strings, right?
That's exactly right. Oh, you can accept it. It can accept a key object, but yeah, it will accept strings. It's all right, Anthony, if you don't know. Like, I'm not gonna just push it on you. But it's just good to challenge you to be able to trying to push yourself and obviously be able to learn the ins and outs. Clear host best guess. Now, so it's going to be the remove method. So you've got the add. So remember how so hash tables are basically contain key and a value. So similar to an object, you have an object which contains an object and a property, and then a property will have a property name and a property value. Similar to a hash table is similar to an object, but it's different. But in this instance, we have a hash table which we have first name Michael, last name Zanata, and then we have var.removes and last name. So basically what we're saying is remove the last name parameter, last name key, and keep the first name. And it's actually really, that's pretty much it. It's not something I expect everyone to know, because at the end of the day, it's just something that's like I just want to throw hard ones just because to kind of challenge you guys.
Yep.
But at the same time, though, it's just a really good, a really good one. So we'll run that. We can see we've passed it. So let's go on to our final ones, and we've got testing PowerShell pipeline use. So you can drive now.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, no, remember, you're still on.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Then look at Google log. Yeah, it's one of those things that basically it's going to come with time. It's like the speaking language. You don't it takes ages to pick it up. When you understand the logic flow and understand how to build logic to get what you want to do, then it starts getting cool. So I've got exercise pipeline in var, return a list of all Windows processes that contains the name SVC host. Alright. I'm going to run that. Did you save it?
No, I didn't. Have now.
Didn't pass.
Oh, yeah, because I missed a... Still wrong.
So we're trying to return a list of all Windows processes that contains the name of SVC host. Okay. Remember, I might see this is actually a bit of a trick question, all right?
Yeah.
I say contains SVC host. All right. Is it contains? Think about your conditional conditional operators. What is it going to be? Is it going to be contains is what you've got there? Is it going to be equals? Is it going to be not equals?
It's going to be equals.
Why do you think it's going to be equals? Apart from reading my hidden below, why do you think it's going to be equals?
I didn't see that there. Because you're looking for a process where it contains a name, so you need it to equal that string.
Okay. Yep. I'm going to ask you: do you the wildcard items? Do you think it's necessary?
Probably not the leading one, but the tail one, because it might have a exe or
Do you think that those wildcard characters are going to do anything?
Oh, they'll definitely do things.
Are you sure?
Well, they tell it to look left and right.
Yeah, they do. But there's a gotcha with them.
I don't know I don't know if the gotchas do share.
Okay. Gotchas. Wildcards only work with like, not equals. Equals is a case literal equal.
Hey, Glenn.
G'day, Glenn, mate. How you going?
He's making fun of me. Bully him for me, will you?
Yeah. So Glenn, we're just basically what I've done is I've got a bit of a recap test that I've wrote. So basically Christian's been going through and just it's a bit like PS cones. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really proud. I'm like, oh wait, I can't actually say get member and then put it in there, so I'll just encode it as base 64. It actually is really effective. I'm actually tossing out whether to use this as interviews. Because at the end of the day, though, yeah, it'd be really good. Meh, Michael. Oh, thanks,
up,
mate.
Glenn?
Thanks, mate. Oh, I'm not going to be meeting at the NDC conference now.
Do you feel unloved?
Oh, I feel unloved. Anyway, so
I suppose I did tell him to bully you.
yeah. So let's run it and see what happens.
But yeah, it's probably going to fail because, like you said, it needs the like, not the equals. So if I put the like in, and then just to be sure that there's nothing else that's in front of the SVC, which there shouldn't be.
Okay.
Still wrong.
Hang on. Specify the operator. Oh, yep. Sorry, no. Yep, keep going. You still haven't cracked it yet?
Oh dear.
How to use where object? You can pull your book out, that's fine. Like, do whatever you need to. Wait. So Glenn, I've been doing tons of courses in test-driven development. So yeah, I'm loving it. Really loving it. Yeah, it's just been slowly cracking through with it now, and it's just a lot more things are becoming clear in that kind of area. So I'm kind of no, it's not. It's not PS. It's not PS cones. It's I just kind of quickly wrote something. I had half an hour spare, and I was like, I could do C#, but it's probably better to do a recap. So I just quickly wrote, and plus also, I'm just been pestering so hard lately. I thought I'd just write some pester, but yeah, it's just a standalone pester. But I could write a PS cones, but I'm just yeah, I actually don't know how to write tests of that yet, so I'm gonna kind of work it out. But it's the exact same process. I was just basically designing the block and then kind of working from that. So what do you got?
Not much.
Not much.
Not much.
Okay, so I want you to kind of if you don't know how to use it, what are you gonna do? If you don't know how to use a command, what are you gonna do? You can go to Google. That's step number one. That's a step. But before we go to Google, what can you do in PowerShell?
You can use the what was it there? The get commandlet.
Close, very close. It's not get command.
I should have taken note of it. I'd
get help.
Get help.
Get help. Go get help. So. Popping up on mine?
No, because it's broken. Like I can't use yours. Keeps coming up with that error.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. What do you...
Right, so
And I've been writing where objects for like PS2 for so long now. I just like I have to, but then the thing is, to be honest, I've just been I've actually made the switch to the where method now, so. I like that. I actually really like that. That's really PowerShelly. I really like that. Okay, for your next thing, testing is normally arrange, act, and assert. Yes, stop picking on me. I'm like, I've got to like get my triple A's all in that right, but I was like, yeah, I think it's this, and then just copy and pasted it. But yes, I will get my my triple A's working, or my triple A and my language right, my English.
So before you even get to like, you actually have to specify a property and a value with where object.
Sounds about right. So what I want you to do is, like, if you get something like this, I'm just going to kind of quickly like walk you through like the process. You don't know anything about it. You don't know anything about this commandlet, which is fine. Like, and no one like. If you don't understand anything about it, that's fine. First thing I'll do is go suss it out. Learn about the commandlet. Understand what is going on there. So basically it's saying, I will return a list of Windows processes that contain the name of SVC host. We've got a whole bunch of SVC hosts there, and you're like, sweet. What's the, we've got, what's the property name?
Process name.
There you go. So there's your property. Right
okay, so it would be...
So that's what I do when I'm like, if I'm working around things, I'm gonna oh, by the way, when you see square brackets in a get help, it's just optional.
Right. Okay, so property is
Let's give it a go.
I need to string that.
Do you think you do? No, it's legit. It's fine. It's completely fine. It's pass. The reason why it pass is because it's the same as select object. So with select object, so if I go get process, go select object, I can specify a property, and then I don't need to like it already knows it's a string. Like some of the time it knows it's a string. Like for example with removing a key from a hash table, you like the method requires a string. You have to pass it a string. But commandlets, if they know it's a string, it's just going to be a string. Like the only time that you'll need to define it as a string, with exception to that basically is technically still a conditional statement. But if you're specifying a parameter that it's a type string, if you basically had to like, if you had like process name and the process like the property, like for example, let's say for instance the property name was process unspace name, you would then have to define a string because it would see it as two separate entities. Yep. But because it's just like, it's a string, like it accepts a string, it's just going to make it a string. Like it's, yeah, it's really cool. So it's the same with this. I could just go process name in PowerShell here. There's a little English like, so where process name is like SVC host. Yeah, this is exactly right. That's one of the things I actually really liked, was that that's really easy to read. And actually, like if I'm going to use where object in the future, I think I might do that because I've like, for me, I'm the traditional. This is how I would have wrote it. This is just PowerShell 2, and literally like too much PowerShell 2 in me is, you know, actually, and then actually specifying a script block and then actually doing that's how like I just traditionally write it. But I'm like, you know what? It actually is way better to read it like that. It's just, but at the same time though, like when you're writing really, really complicated stuff though, so if you're doing like, I think like, if you're doing some simple one-off things, I do think that like, that is just, that's actually beautiful to read. I actually really like that. But if I'm reading, like, if I'm writing something that's like a where object, I'm doing like, for example, I'm filtering SVC host, and then I'm doing all these other things, well then, yeah.
Nothing wrong with being old school, Glenn. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But at the same time though, I've kind of made the transition to the where method because I was using the where method the other day to, in a PESA tests. And it's just like I can do a lot more stuff with the where method because it encompasses features that the where object just doesn't have, like, you know, get me the first item or stop processing when it hits this. So you get these the collection on the left. You can split the two offending collections, things like that, which is really cool. But yeah, obviously where item or where objects is still cool. Right, let's keep going.
Woohoo.
So next one is in var, return a list of Windows processes that contain the name SVC host. Return only 10.
Okay. I must admit, I did see the pester entry down below, so I grabbed a copy.
Savage. This is why we like you hide. This is why you hide your regions. Let's just run it and see what happens. Look at that, all pass, done, all done.
Good test.
Yeah, good
I
test.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, so it's really good to see though. But like, yeah, it's actually something that yeah, it's obviously it's always good to obviously reinforce what you've learned and kind of challenge yourself a bit. One of the things I actually was going to say is what's the biggest rule of them all? Now, before you answer, I want everyone to actually throw their answers. What is the biggest PowerShell rule out there that you live by in terms of if you get with any sort of PowerShell, what is the biggest rule of them all? You got a bit of an idea?
Yeah, I got two answers.
Okay.
First one is ask Michael. If I don't understand something, I'll ask Michael.
That's legitimate, but what's the second one? Okay, Glenn says readability. Readability is king. I do think I have one that is one more than that, though. I think there's one more.
If you're running any exercises that involve changing your system, make sure it's in a temp folder, like a temp setup.
I think actually no. Anthony got it. Anthony got it. Zero trust. Don't run code that you don't understand. That's like the biggest. Like I have like especially when going to Google, like, and don't get me wrong, there is like stuff that there's stuff out there that you're never going to be able to get your head around everything. But if you're ever going to Google and you're grabbing code, and like this comes back to a person who told me, man, I don't know why we need automation, guys. I'll just go and copy paste all my code out there. And I just said to him, mate, yeah, and you're the reason why basically like we exist. Because at the end of the day, though, people who copy code that they don't understand how it runs is going to be the biggest risk ever. Well, and that's exactly right. If you can read it, then you can understand it. But the thing is like, I've got this, like on the back of my my Bruce Pug shirt, I've got a class which is basically meh. And then basically inside of meh, I have a method called, I've just got a default constructor, and it just fires up Rick Astley. And then I've got another commandlet underneath that basically creates an alias for a new object to be meh. So to instantiate that object, I just say meh, and then you get Rick Astley. But it's like, it's the whole, like, it's my whole premise where I don't like for me, if I see code online, I'll always make an effort to understand it. Even if it's like Glenn says, if you fire it up on a VM, fire it up on something that basically is in an isolated environment so that you're not just blindly running code. Because nothing makes me scared more than basically having a piece of code there that I don't understand. And that happens in my work as well, where previously I actually had to rewrite a piece of code which had to calculate a 10-day timetable. And the code that was initially written, I just couldn't understand. It just, and it, like Glenn says, readability is really important, and yeah, it was pretty much unreadable.
And that's where adding comments and
exactly, and breaking down your code and making an effort to make it as more readable as possible, it would really pay off. Actually, I'm gonna see if I can go find it. Give me a couple of secs because it's gonna change on an 8-day. Give me 2 secs. I'm just gonna go okay. Give me a sec. Alright, I can't get it, so I'm just going to leave it. But basically, yeah, readability is really important. And there was actually a piece of code that I wrote ages ago, which what it had was, I had a class. Oh yeah, I added you a VIP because you're just such a really very
You're an excellent source of up-to-date PowerShell.
Yeah. All I do is nerd snipe and hang on. I was kind of planning on giving you
you're
moderator,
missing an underscore there, Glenn.
Yeah, like what's a 3-letter swear word? I don't think there's any sort of 3-letter swear word out there. Actually, no, there is, but that doesn't make sense. I'm gonna hang ass on Christian.
Come on, man.
I'm like,
you hang it on me too.
Oh, mate. But yeah, so it really comes down to readability. Like, I've always found the more, and like, I'm not afraid to add a lot of comments because at the end of the day, the more comments it is, the better the code is always going to come out. Like, and it's something that, like, for me, it's like readability. It's like all these different little factors, but they all make up just a really good project. So like code readability, tests, so your unit tests, integration tests, and then you have logging and like good code management and all these kinds of little bits and pieces just make up a really easy project for a person to manage. But then getting literally, that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, there's nothing worse than that. I've had that happen to me the other week, and I also read one this week, and I was just like, I'm not even getting involved with it. because if I offer to rewrite it, I'm going to be there a week trying to understand how it ticks, and then I'm going to probably be writing half the amount of language and then half the amount of lines. So, but anyway, yeah, I think that wraps it up. So we can pretty much just yammer on. But I think yeah, that we're pretty much finished for this project. I do need to get the test come out as decent docs, so good for newcomers and experts alike, 100%.
Talking about docs, it was actually mentioned yesterday at our course. Or no, actually today in regards to security, where if you don't update your network documents saying, you know, we've stopped using 10 ports, we're now using 15 ports, and someone only updates security on 10 ports, that leaves the vulnerability of another 5 ports.
Yeah. Yep. It's also the fact that basically you go, oh, stop using, you know, blah, blah, blah on this, and no one documents it, and then some guy plugs it in and goes, why is it not working? And then you go, Some guy looks at it and goes, why is it tagged with VLAN blah? And you're like, well, I don't know. Because there's no Docker. So, yeah, I think that was actually, it was really good. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Glenn kind of caught us at the back end of that, but that's all good. Yeah, but it was really good. So, I think, is anything else you want to add, or another stream should use config management for network devices, or configuration management? Yeah. It's actually something. I was gonna say like we should like get Wayne, Glenn, and Jordan, and we just like have some sort of configuration war, and it's like we set a ridiculously impossible task of like send that computer to the moon, and then we just see who can write the most craziest configuration to send it to the moon. Completely unrealistic and completely and then you got anyway.
And if you can add an animation, even better.
Oh yeah, and it's got to be an animation, somehow you have to incorporate an animation into a configuration management engine. Just
like your last scripting games that I came across.
I don't think I want to do something different. Like, solve me a Rubik's Cube. I actually do have another one on the cards, which I do really kind of like. I do have it as a project at the moment, which manage SharePoint with stuff. Manage SharePoint, mate. I'll tell you how to manage SharePoint. You get VM, remove VM. But then now it's in 365, so you go get the instance, and then basically you just delete that instance, and then you're good.
Don't even get me started on SharePoint.
Like, SharePoint's good. Like, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, though, like, SharePoint is really good for specific things. But the thing is, I do think that, like, especially with Microsoft Teams, Teams is really kind of pushing down the line now, and Teams is kind of starting to take on some of that functionality. So it's potentially, it's kind of putting both, like, is SharePoint still going to exist? Is it going to exist as a document library, which is probably still going to be the area? But then you've got like other technologies like OneDrive and things like that. So it's kind of like this is a bit of a grey area in terms of But
I was trying to access the SharePoint for the QFEDS gateway earlier today, and it just wouldn't let me. So I logged into my 365 account. I click on SharePoint and it comes up with a blank page. So then I go and I click in the top left-hand corner there, QFES Office 365. Morning, Shane.
G'day, Shane.
And it takes me through to the volunteer portal where I have to log in to go to the QFES SharePoint. So something's a bit broken there.
Savage. That's savage. I think there's a token broken there. G'day, Shane. We're actually about to finish up, mate. So you pretty much got us at the end of the stream, mate. But we're just kind of hanging around for a bit of a yamba. Yeah. I was actually saying to Alex, like with Node.js, like everyone's like, there is so like my colleague Alex has got this project on at the moment. He's with Node.js and he's got so many different like dependencies on things out there, and I was just like, okay. you know. And then I thought, I wonder if it's possible. Like, it's a mega troll. Like, for just like, you get like a series of, like, for example, the not REST, because REST is generally here. Well, actually, there's REST ones out there. So you get like all the REST Node.js classes, and then what you do is you put dependencies on each other class, so then it creates a circle, so a logical circle that won't get picked up on like any sort of unit testing. And I was thinking, oh man, if you did that, you can imagine like how that would break all of like production code and just constant update. Like you want to just update one item, and next thing you know, you're updating 10 of the same thing, and you're like, yeah, why? And just, yeah, anyway, stirring the pot for the sake of stirring it.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, it was good to see you all. I hope you had a really good time. I definitely did. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and thank you, Christian, for doing it.
It was fun. I look forward to the next test.
Yeah, I think next time we're probably going to be working on we'll be focusing a little bit more with well, actually, we get to pick a whole brand new project. Actually, no, the next one will probably be demo time, and then it'll be a brand new project. So,
which suggestions might be appreciated?
Yeah, suggestions. Put them in the suggestion box. I do have crazy things. They are pertaining to do with games. So, like working out. I think I have. So I've got it around here somewhere, but.
We're glad you joined us, Shane.
Yeah. I think we're going to, like, well, there was one where I wanted to do with Sea of Thieves, which was to look at behind the scenes of how Sea of Thieves sends the network traffic, and we're going to basically write a quick script to work out how to...
Poshbot? Why Poshbot?
Write a Poshbot. Write an offensive Poshbot. But yeah, I was thinking of doing something like that. I was also thinking of doing a Battlefield 4 aimbot, which yes, it's super dodgy, but we are not going to use it on multiplayer servers. So we get around Switch's terms and conditions, so we don't have to worry about anything to do with that. And plus, to be honest, I think there's going to be really no one playing Battlefield 4 anymore, so I think it's fairly safe.
Well, they've got what 1 and 5 now. So.
Yeah, 1 and 5. So actually, we can explore using Pixel Aimbot. Which is a lot of fun. It's a lot of practical application in terms of mouse interaction with the mouses and things like that, and you know that's going to be really cool. So, but anyway, guys, leave your suggestions in the suggestion box, and yeah, we'll hope to see you guys next time. But anyway, thanks, guys. See you.
Thank you.